The episode opens at Brenda's house. As Maiden enters, she notices that everything seems strangely arranged, as if something had just happened there. The glass on the floor is shattered, startling her, but the house is silent. She moves to the living room, calling out Brenda's name. No response. Growing uneasy, she walks towards the bedroom, but Brenda isn't there either. As she approaches the bathroom, she notices Brenda's phone on the counter and more broken glass. Suddenly, she hears the faint sound of water dripping. Slowly, she pushes the door open and is met with a horrifying sight. Brenda's lifeless body floating in the jacuzzi, the water stained deep red with blood. She gasps in shock, unable to comprehend what she is seeing. After her lecture, Alma is seen heading home when, near the corner of the university compound, she is surprised to find Dario waiting for her. He confronts her, asking, "Can I call you Brenda, or should I say Professor Solares?" His words suggest he knows she lied about telling him her name is Brenda at last night. Alma, looking uneasy, admits she is Professor Solares but firmly tells Dario that their affair is over. She never expected to see him again, and now it's truly the end. She leaves him standing there and walks to her car. However, as she tries to start the engine, she realizes her car is broken down. Dario, watching from his car, gets out and offers to help her fix it. After finishing, he reminds her of their passionate encounter and tries to convince her that they are both adults and can make their own decisions. But Alma stops him, saying, "Dario, I'm married." He tries to steal a kiss from her, but she resists. Before leaving, Dario hands her his business card and tells her, "If you ever change your mind, you know where to find me." At the Leonardo office, Leonardo is seen interrogating a suspect named Ortega. Frustrated by Ortega's failure to provide useful information, Leonardo raises his voice, causing his secretary to intervene and calm him down. Meanwhile, Zoe and her uncle Esteban visit the morgue, where they examine a lifeless body. While Zoe looks uneasy, Esteban remains composed, speculating that the person may have been murdered. Later, Zoe inspects the body closely and discovers evidence suggesting the victim struggled before dying. She shares her findings with Esteban, but he dismisses her suspicions, unwilling to accept the possibility of foul play. Detective Varajo and his team arrive at Brenda's house and begin their investigation. As they search for evidence, they discover a bottle of poison and wine, raising questions about whether Brenda was mixing it with alcohol and drink. While scanning the room, Varajo stops at a framed photograph of Brenda, staring at it for a moment. A colleague notices and asks, "Did you know her?" Varajo hesitates before quietly responding, "I didn't." Later, the team uncovers 2 used condoms in the trash bin. Varajo tells his team, "The victim might have a sexual encounter before she died. We need to find out with whom." At home, Zoe has breakfast with her mother, Alma. She casually mentions her experience at the morgue with Esteban, but Alma quickly cuts her off, saying, "Let's not talk about cops while we're eating." Zoe complains that her mother never supports her interests, but Alma tries to reassure her, saying she needs her to change topic. As Zoe gets up to leave, she asks her mom if she has seen her green jacket. Alma responds, "I don't think I've seen it." Zoe then walks toward the door, but before leaving, Alma asks, "How about a kiss?" As Zoe leans in to kiss her mother on the cheek, she notices a large mark on Alma's neck. Suspicious, she asks, "What is that?" Alma, looking embarrassed, quickly says, "It's just oil from fixing the car." But Zoe is unconvinced. She knows it's a love bite. Without saying another word, she turns and leaves, leaving Alma visibly uncomfortable. Leonardo and Esteban are later seen at a club, discussing a legal issue. Leonardo complains that Ortega misspelled the last name of a suspect, leading to the loss of crucial evidence. As a result, the suspect will now go free because the search warrant is invalid. Frustrated, they head toward the pool table, where Roxana is seen standing, selling necklaces. Esteban approaches her, trying to charm her into spending the night with him, offering to buy a necklace in exchange. Alma is taking a shower at home. As the warm water runs down her body, her mind drifts to thoughts of Dario. She recalls the night they spent together, reliving the intense passion and the way he made her feel. As she finishes her bath, she picks up her phone and calls Brenda. But Brenda's phone is offline. Confused, she leaves a voice message. "Guess who showed up at my seminar today?" Expecting Brenda to respond, she sets her phone down and walks away, unaware of the tragic truth. The next day, Alma visits a lawyer to discuss her marriage problems. She confesses that although she and Leonardo still live together and raise their daughter, their love has faded. Leonardo is too busy with work, legal cases, and his assistant, and Alma suspects he might be having an affair. Frustrated, she admits she is considering divorce. The lawyer advises her to have a secret affair before making any final decisions, warning that loneliness can lead to regret. As Alma listens, her thoughts once again wander to Dario. She remains silent, but her emotions suggest she is already considering a new relationship with him. While Alma struggles with her personal turmoil, her daughter Zoe enjoys a carefree afternoon at the swimming pool with her friend Karina. Unaware of her mother's troubles, she laughs and shares stories about love and relationships. At the club, Esteban finally gets what he wants from Roxana. As they share an intimate moment, Esteban receives a call from Detective Varajo. The detective tells him, "Brenda is dead. We found her body." Hearing this, Esteban freezes, his mind flashing back to a past moment when he and Brenda had a encounter. Alma arrives at her husband's office. As she enters, she finds Leonardo holding a necklace and helping his assistant put it on. Instantly, she realizes what's happening. "I knew it," she says, her voice laced with disappointment. Leonardo tries to explain, but Alma doesn't want to hear it. Attempts to intervene, but Leonardo stops her, saying, "This is between me and my wife." Alma glares at them both, calling them shameless before storming out of the office. On the way home, her mind drifts to memories of the passionate love she once shared with Leonardo, wondering when it all changed. That night, Alma drives to Dario's office, sitting inside her car as the rain pours heavily. Inside, Dario is at his desk, staring at a picture of Alma's family on his computer. When he notices Alma watching him from outside, he quickly rushes out to meet her. But before he can reach her, she starts her car and drives away, tears streaming down her face. Zoe, meanwhile, is at home with Karina, enjoying a light-hearted conversation. As teenagers, they share their thoughts on love, relationships, and attraction. Karina opens up about her past feelings for a girl and expresses her curiosity about Zoe. Karina confesses that she once had feelings for a girl named Carmelita back in kindergarten. Curious, Zoe asks, "How was it?" Instead of answering, Karina leans in and kisses Zoe, revealing that she has feelings for her. Stunned, Zoe quickly pulls away, rejecting Karina's advances. Finally, Alma returns home, only to find Esteban and Leonardo waiting for her. Leonardo embraces her gently and whispers, "Brenda is dead." Shocked, Alma stiffens, then pulls away and walks to the couch, tears welling up in her eyes. As she sits down, she murmurs to herself, "How did I not see it coming? I'm such an idiot." Varajo and Esteban discuss Brenda's death. Varajo reveals that a belt was used as a tourniquet and 2 used condoms containing male DNA were found at the scene. Varajo initially suspects Brenda's ex-husband, but later rules him out since he had moved to Spain 3 months prior. Later, Esteban asks Varajo to see Brenda's body and review all the evidence found in Brenda's house. Varajo agrees. Zoe, visibly panicked about Brenda's death, argues with her father, Leonardo, at home. She urges him to ask Alma, her mother, about what happened since Alma was with Brenda during a weekend getaway. However, Leonardo refuses, claiming Alma is going through a difficult time and cannot be questioned. As they talk, Alma enters and overhears them, asking what questions she shouldn't be asked. Zoe responds by asking about Brenda's death but later softens, hugging her mother and apologizing for her loss. Leonardo then asks Alma if she has spoken to Brenda's family about the burial arrangements, to which Alma replies that the burial will only happen after the investigation is complete. After Zoe leaves, Leonardo suggests a weekend getaway for him and Alma, but she declines, saying she has work commitments and cannot go. At college, Zoe encounters Karina, but Zoe is uncomfortable due to Karina's attempt to initiate a sexual encounter the previous night, which Zoe rejected. Zoe tries to avoid Karina, but Karina confronts her, questioning will Zoe can keep avoiding her for 4 years and apologizing for the previous night's events. Zoe appears surprised by Karina's actions before leaving her alone. During Alma's class on violence and gender, Dario thoughts drift to the weekend getaway with Alma, remembering their dance and intimate moments at the nightclub. Later on, Dario asks a question. Alma tries to answer confidently, but Dario's intense gaze makes her feel shy, causing her to rush through her answer and end the lesson abruptly. As Alma gathers her things to leave, Dario sends her a message. As Alma leaves the classroom, Dario confronts her, trying to start a conversation, but she is visibly annoyed by his persistence. Frustrated, she demands, "Where did you get my private phone number?" To which Dario casually responds that he found it on her Facebook profile. Still irritated, Alma is about to walk away when Dario notices her somber expression and asks if something is wrong. At that moment, the weight of reality hits her. She reveals that her friend Brenda has died. As they sit and talk, Alma reveals a conversation with Brenda before her death, where she had playfully said, "Next week, I'll post a picture of the hot guy I'm making love to, in your honor." Overcome with emotion, Alma breaks down in tears, revealing that she and Brenda had been best friends for over 30 years. Seeing her distress, Dario gently tries to comfort her. After a moment of silence, Alma gathers herself, wipes her tears, and softly says, "I have to go." Without another word, they leave together. At his office, Leonardo sits at his desk when his secretary, Edith, enters. Without looking up, he immediately asks if she called his brother. Edith replies that she didn't, but his brother went to the central police station to check on Brenda's death case. Leonardo's expression darkens upon hearing this. Sensing his unease, Edith asks if something is wrong and notes that he seems worried. Leonardo exhales deeply, his gaze distant, and simply states that he doesn't understand his brother's actions. Esteban is at the morgue, gazing at Brenda's lifeless body, clearly overwhelmed with sadness for the loss of someone he loved, and wondering what led to her death. As he examines the body, Detective Ortega enters, and Esteban reveals that he sees no signs of violence, suggesting that Brenda might have taken her own life. Alma and Dario are at Dario's auto shop while Alma waits for her car to be repaired. During their conversation, Alma questions how a lawyer can afford such an expensive business, to which Dario reveals he inherited it from his late father. He then reassures her that the pain she's holding onto will eventually fade. Alma seeks forgiveness for her harsh treatment of him in recent weeks, except for their first passionate encounter, and Dario accepts her apology. At Detective Vallejo's office, Esteban sat across from him, discussing the details of Brenda's death. Vallejo leaned back in his chair, revealing that Brenda's ex-husband was now living in Spain with his new wife. He explained that the couple had been divorced for about 3 months, making it unlikely that the ex-husband was involved in Brenda's murder. Vallejo then pointed out that alcohol and an intense, passionate encounter had been part of the events leading to Brenda's death, suggesting that the crime was not premeditated but rather a result of heightened emotions. Curious about the case's progress, Esteban asked Vallejo if any key evidence had been found at Brenda's house. In response, the detective revealed something unexpected. Brenda's phone had received a message one day after her death. He then showed Esteban the message, which was from Alma. It was the same message viewers had seen in an earlier episode, raising new questions about Alma's connection to the case. At the university, Leonardo visits Alma, bringing flowers as a gesture of seeking forgiveness for their recent conflict. As he approaches her office, he encounters Alma's colleague, Nancy. During their conversation, Leonardo is surprised when Nancy informs him that Alma had left the university early. As they finish talking, Leonardo begins to leave, but Nancy asks if it is their anniversary, mentioning that her husband used to buy her flowers on such occasions. Leonardo denies it and leaves the university. The scene shifts to Dario's auto shop, where Alma is filled with temptation and desire as she watches Dario work on a car. When Dario turns his gaze toward her, Alma quickly hides inside the car. The scene transitions from car repair to an intimate moment, with Dario caressing Alma's body, leading to a passionate encounter. Meanwhile, Leonardo leaves Alma a voicemail, explaining that he went to the university to search for her, and he asks her to call him if she receives the message. After their encounter, Alma confesses to Dario that she never cheated on her husband before and feels guilty, but Dario reassures her, insisting that she should not feel guilty for what happened. Alma emphasizes that she is starting to develop strong feelings for Dario. Zoe is at home, reading on her computer. Abruptly, she receives an anonymous message from an unknown sender who introduces himself as Animus, claiming that they met in a past life. Just as Zoe is processing the message, Alma unexpectedly enters the room, startling her. Zoe, surprised, asks her mother why she didn't knock, and Alma apologizes, asking for forgiveness. As they continue talking, Zoe informs Alma that her father had been looking for her earlier in the morning but couldn't find her. Alma, visibly saddened, listens quietly. Later, the two share a heartfelt hug. Alma admits that she feels a little better now and then quietly leaves the room. As Alma enters the bedroom, she notices Leonardo's briefcase and a book on top of it. Curiously, she opens the book and is taken aback when she finds a receipt for the purchase of a necklace. She realizes she has never seen that necklace in their home, which leads her to feel a wave of confusion. A troubling thought crosses her mind. Could it be that her husband bought the necklace for someone else? This realization leaves her unsettled and questioning the situation. The scene shifts to Esteban and Leonardo having a conversation about Brenda's death. Leonardo appears visibly angry, confronting Esteban about his involvement in the case, questioning why he is so invested in Brenda's death. Esteban, with a hint of reluctance, finally reveals that Brenda was his lover. This revelation shocks Leonardo, intensifying the tension between the two men as they grapple with the unexpected truth. Alma is seen emerging from the bathroom, her gaze drifting toward a photo of her and Brenda together. As she stares at the picture, her mind shifts to a haunting memory of seeing Brenda moments before her suicide, with Brenda cutting her right arm veins with a razor blade. The scene then cuts to a later night, where the tension between Alma and Leonardo is palpable. At home, Leonardo standing while drinking wine, visibly troubled, while Alma lies in bed, sleeping restlessly, unaware of the emotional distance growing between them. The heavy silence and the growing rift between them are unmistakable. Dario is seen at the sister ward, looking for his mother, who has been struggling with mental health issues for a long time. He approaches her bedside, gently asking if she's okay, mentioning that Sister Rosalba had said she refused to eat. His mother, however, is unable to respond, her silence speaking volumes. Dario tries to coax her into eating, but she neglects. The scene captures Dario's deep concern and frustration, highlighting the painful reality of his mother's condition. At home, Zoe is frantically searching for her green jacket, asking everyone if they've seen it. The maid suggests that Zoe may have left it at school. Just then, Esteban arrives, and Zoe, still upset, leaves the house, leaving Esteban alone with Alma. Esteban and Alma exchange information about Brenda's death. Esteban reveals that he visited the police headquarters to learn more about the case. When Alma asks how the investigation is progressing, Esteban shows her a key piece of evidence: a voice message Alma had sent to Brenda, mentioning a man who went to the university during her lecture, referring to Dario. As Alma listens, she tries to explain that Brenda had never been involved with anyone, but Esteban presses her to reveal the truth. He informs Alma that the police found a belt in Brenda's room, along with 2 used condoms with sample of semen. Faced with the evidence, Alma finally admits that Brenda didn't have a passionate encounter with anyone, but she, Alma, did. The movie ends with this revelation, leaving a heavy, unresolved tension in the air. Do you want to know what happens next? Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss out on the next episode. Don't forget to leave your thoughts in the comments and give us a like. The next episode will be available soon. Stay tuned.